Hi, this is High Templar with my new Total War Warhammer video, and this is a DLC speculation video concerning Tomb Kings. This is actually video number 200 on my channel, so I wanted to make it a bit special. And I didn't wanted to post this video now, but because this is 200, I'm posting it. So there you go. According to the leak from quite some time ago, that surfaced on some Russian forum. The Tomb Kings will be the DLC number 8 that we will receive. So the Grim Grave is number 4. The 5 would supposedly be the Wooded, and the 8 would be Tomb Kings. Some things will be going on in between. Whether we should believe that leak or not, there are some indications in the game that we will have Tomb Kings at some point. So let's get into it. So this is a map from the Total War Rome 2 series. So this is a game map from previous Total War, and you can see some factions here, but this is not what is important. What is important, this is a screen from a game showing you entire map with the southern and eastern borders, western borders, and northern border, right? So this is how this map looks like. When you load the game, for example, as you can see here in the Rome 2, you could see this entire map in the loading screen right here, with the same demarcations as before: northern, southern, eastern, and western borders. Now, in Total War Warhammer, if you load the game, this is what you will see. This is the map area that we will have. However, the southern border of the map is actually here. And this is eastern border, and this is western border. So you might see that there will be things here, here, and here, quite obviously. So what is here? This is also another screenshot from the game, so you would see that it is in fact the border of the map is way south here, right here, way south. So this is quite different from the Attila, and there is something in here. You can even see that there are mountains going all the way up here and up here, right? And these are the badlands. These are the swamps that I will show you in the map later on. Now, so there are indications that there will be Tomb Kings. I will be talking about their campaign later, but first start with the army, and we will go through that very quickly. First are the skeleton warriors. These are your rank and file skeletons. Probably. I mean, the Tomb Kings are not really your average skeleton army. The Tomb Kings are have more satience to it. The Tomb Kings actually is a very interesting faction because they are not evil. Pretty much the same way as where most vampire counts are very evil, Vlad is not. However, that's a funny fact. The Vlad is from the same place as the Tomb Kings from Cambria. So these are the land in the south where the first vampire was born. Actually, it was a she, and he was her. Well, Vlad was her. Let's say son in darkness. So those skeletons are slightly different than normal skeletons. Will they be different in Total War game? I'm not sure. I wouldn't bet on it. I would say they would be pretty much the same. So that would be unit of 160 skeletons, costing the same as it is right now, 250. I would like for them to have slightly different stats, like slightly different melee attack or speed or something to differentiate them from your rank and file skeletons from vampire counts. Maybe that will happen, maybe not. Most cases it doesn't happen because we've seen units like Chaos Giants and Giant with exactly the same. However, with the latest Beastmen, we've seen that the Chaos Spawns are slightly different. I mean, slightly, but still there is some difference. So maybe there is a slight difference with those skeletons, not sure. However, the next unit is really interesting because those guys are really what makes them different from vampire counts. These are skeleton archers. While they are very bad in firing bow, at least in tabletop, there are archers, so there is a range unit, and it's not the only one. There is also artillery, which I will talk about in shortly. So this will probably 120 unit size, costing around 400, I would say, but that would largely depend on how good those guys are. Maybe there will be cheaper unit of 90, but I would rather see them along, Goblin Archers, somewhere along the Goblin Archers. Next we have Tomb Guard. Tomb Guard is basically your basic infantry basic is skeleton warriors. However, Tomb Guards are your elite infantry for Tomb Kings, and the difference, what would differentiate them, at least in tabletop, from your grave guards from vampire counts, would most likely be higher weapon skill but lower armor. At least that's how I would see them, and the same unit sizes as you would see in the vampire counts. Next unit is slightly different, and this is the same questions I have that are with 3 men for the Wood Elves. I'm just not sure how they will be implemented. They used to be pretty cool in the tabletop, but then they were largely nerfed, and so they are not as good right now. The Ushapti are the unit that could go in the variety of 24, but might as well go in 120. Not sure, probably around 60 or 90. Hard to say. They are slightly larger than your normal model, so, but on the other hand, we've seen some slightly larger units, depending really on how they will be implemented. Really hard to say anything about them, although they do come in melee and range variety. We might not see the range variety that I'm showing you right now. That might not happen, although it would be very cool because it would give they would probably be 60 unit or 90 unit and pretty good range unit. However, I don't think that will happen actually. So hard to say. I can't really make predictions on this unit. When for the skeleton warriors, skeleton archers, and tomb guards, I can make predictions that they will be pretty much the same as their counterparts. With them, there is no real counterpart. Hard, really, I don't know. Depends whether they want to make them stronger, whether they will just leave them as a small cheap unit or larger, more expensive unit. Probably somewhere in the middle, so I would be betting on somewhere in the middle. So, cav units. We have our skeleton horsemen, so that will be your rank and file cheap spear cavalry, light cavalry, obviously 60 men, probably around 600 cost, I would say cheaper than the Black Knights, but worse than the Black Knights. Then there we have Skeleton Horseman Archers, which are quite interesting. I would see them as it's hard to say. I mean, the unit size will be 60. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they will be nerfed. They might be going to around what the what are the Goblin Archer, Wolf Rider Archers, but I think they will be pretty much around the like yeoman range yeoman that Britannia have. Probably something along those lines. They are obviously brittle, but they are quite fast, and they do have bows, although their skill is not so good. So maybe. Then we have skeleton chariots. So those are like a basic of Tomb King's units. Those chariots are not very powerful, in at least in tabletop. By they break a lot, and we see in current game we see chariot units of 4 and 6. I would see them as 4, probably not as 6, like Goblin chariot. They will most likely be 4. They will be slightly cheaper than your boar chariots or something similar, so probably around 700 or so. I would say that, but I'm not sure how they will be implemented, how strong they will be. I would say about 700, but it might be 1000 for units. So yeah, that is your standard. And now we have something interesting. Now we have Necropolis Knights. So Necropolis Knights, I would probably see them. You can see in the background how the other units are way smaller. Well, you do see skeletons, so you do see that Necropolis Knights are quite big. So monster infantry, probably 12 units, although might go with 24, but probably 12 units. And their cost will be probably around at least 800, depending on how elite those guys will be. We might go all the way up to 1600. It really depends how much punch they will pack, but yeah, I would say about 1000, about 800, 1000 and 12 units. 12 entities in a unit. Then we have monsters and Tomb Swarm, which I pretty sure will not be implemented, just because they are a bit small for this army and they weren't implemented. Well, in Greenskins they haven't implemented Snotlings. I really don't think Tomb Swarm will be implemented. The Bat Swarm was something different, but yeah, the Tomb Swarm probably not. Pretty sure not. Then we have Tomb Scorpions. And Tomb Scorpions is a very interesting unit, bit brittle like everything else except for construct like Shepti or Sphinxes, which we'll talk about in shortly, but those guys are a bit brittle. They should have, if they follow the tabletop, they will have Vanguard deployment, which is interesting because the size of those guys, as you can see, they are pretty big. They could be full-fledged single unit monster, although probably not that expensive. 1400 to, I don't think they will go up to 2000. However, the Creative Assembly did on occasion change those stats, like with the Arachnarok spiders, so we might see them as pretty solid monsters, but we might see them as units of unit costing barely 1200. They do have Vanguard deployment, and it would be cool if they actually implemented a monster unit with the Vanguard deployment. That would be very cool. However, they might also be implemented in the unit of 12 or 4. which I think is highly unlikely. 12 unlikely, 4 highly unlikely. But yeah, you know. Then we have a proper war machine. This is Chimerian War Sphinx, and those guys will most likely be, as you can see from the size, single model and costing a lot, at least 1500, maybe to 2000. They are very tough, very interesting unit, not so fast, but you know, this is an animated stone construct, so pretty awesome. And as you can see, there are some guys riding it. Then we have carrion birds, and those guys are hard to say. They are like twice more expensive in tabletop than your rank and file mid-range unit, so like 23 or 4 points if my memory serves me correct, compared to like 12 of the glaive guards, for example. So they used to be like really big and scary. Now they are not so much. So we will probably see this as a unit of 12. I don't think we will see more. They are smaller than the Great Eagles, so even if Wood Elf Great Eagles will be implemented as one, those guys still may be implemented as 12. I don't think they will be implemented as single entity. Just wouldn't be right. And the costs, I just don't know. It would really depend on how powerful they would make them. I would say they are pretty much the only flyer that the Tomb Kings have. So maybe something in the middle, maybe something around 1000 or 1200, slightly larger than the Vargeist, probably. I don't know, maybe. Then we have Sepulchre Stalkers, and I would also see them as a unit of 12. They are quite big. They are very interesting. They would probably cost in the range of 1000, probably, depending on the strength, really. But I would see them in a unit of 12. I don't think 24. It's very rarely used in creative assembly, so I would say 12. And they will be properly interesting unit if you can use them correctly. As you can see, two-handed weapons, so might be pretty interesting. Maybe I'm not. I doubt they will be as powerful as Minotaurs or something like that, but might be something along the lines of Crypt Horrors, possibly. Then we have Necrolith Colossus, your basic bone giant. So probably more brittle than a giant. They go in melee and range variety. I think we might see melee variety, range variety, because we've seen Cygor. It would be very cool if they would implement it, but it's like 50-50. I'm not sure. Just then we have something strange. These are Hero Titans, so they are pretty much casting spell casting giants, which we haven't seen so far. Maybe something similar like Kolek, possibly, who have some access to some bombardment spells, possibly. I would see them as such. I'm not sure if they will make it. Obviously, single entity unit. Then we have Necrosphinx, which is upgraded version of I I wouldn't say upgraded version of War Sphinx, but in Total War reality it is, and it would be very cool to see him, and it will be a proper monster at least. I mean, yeah, like 2000 cost single entity unit, and I would really like to see them. Then we have artillery that I've mentioned before, and this is Screaming Screaming Catapult, Screaming Skull Catapult. Well, they are actually throwing skulls. They do not deal as much damage, so no armor piercing, nothing like that. Probably standard range of 400 to 420, I'd say. And a large scaring effect, which would be also very cool. And the cost around, I'm depending on how cool they are, but around 800 obviously, because every other piece of artillery is around this price. So yeah, four units pop, 3 in multiplayer. Then we have we also have another unit that I've missed somehow. It's Cascade of Souls, which is support unit that can cast spells and can cast damaging spells. So it might be used as artillery. I just don't know how it will be implemented. Well, we have the wagon lately in Grim and Grave, so probably we'll get some Cascade. So will it be at the start or sometime later in some another DLC? Not sure. So then we have heroes for those guys, and we have Tomb Prince, which is obviously your standard melee hero. Then we have, and I'm not sure if he even will be implemented. Then we have Tom Herald, which is another melee hero but slightly cheaper, and this guy probably will be implemented, and this will be your melee hero that we would see. We might get both, but I don't think so. Then we have Necrotech, which will be the guys boosting all the constructs, like war sphinxes and such. It would be very cool if he could actually boost such a powerful unit. And then we have Lich Priest, which is obviously your standard casting hero. As for the lords, we have Tomb King, very cool. Your standard lord, basically, like every other standard lord we've seen so far. And then there is the Lich High Priest, and there is also possibly Tom Herald. We can take it as a lord, but I don't think we will see him, so I'm not showing him. And finally we have legendary lords, and I'm pretty sure that your main legendary lord, the faction leader, will be Cetra. He's a main guy. He has this cool chariot, which is absolutely devastating, but also he's a bit brittle. So I don't know, we'll see. It would be very cool. He has a ton of shock value. It would be very cool if we could have that guy. If you are good in micromanagement, though, this army will be for you. And I feel like if they implement it this way, and I do feel they will implement it this way, this guy would be very cool. Obviously, probably getting a chariot later on in the game, but in the multiplayer you could get it at the start, so that would be very cool. Then we will have Great Hierophant Caleb, who is basically your caster character. I would say like a girl, more like a girl than your than Kemmler. He is properly powerful guy. He is normally the one that is controlling the undead army, undead in the army, because in tabletop you have to have a hierophant that is keeping alive all this dead, because your rank and fire lord cannot do it. Cetra can do it, but your rank and fire lord cannot. So you have to have a hierophant. This guy is like great hierophant. So basically, I think we will see him. However, he's a bit boring, so, you know. Then we have Herald Nekhaf, which is, like a melee guy, like a Strigoi King, similar in many ways. And then we have a queen to Cetra. I don't remember her name actually. Have I forgot to put it? I forgot to put it down. However, she also could be a very cool character. And what else we have? Yeah, we have Arkham Black, which I don't think actually will be there, but it will also be a cool legendary lore that we could have. And but I do feel we will get Cetra and Caleb. It would be cool to have a queen. It would really be cool to have a queen, but I'm not sure about it. Would be cool, but whether they will implement it from the start or whether it will be implemented in DLC, not sure. Just hard to say, really. It's kind of a dare pick. No, it's just a guessing game at this point. Then let's talk about campaign a bit. So if you see, so this is Tile, obviously. These are the Badlands. This is where the map ends right about now. It's a little bit different from what you've seen, but yeah, it's pretty much it. And this is the land of the dead, basically. These are the lands of the Tomb Kings. There is also an Araby to the west from them. Araby is normally a very big country. However, in our map, if you remember how it looked like, it's not as big. So it's a tight place to pick this, to put the Tomb Kings there. There should be an Arabi faction. It would be very cool to see them. Whether it will be, I don't know, but it should be, and I think it will be. The Tomb Kings are a strange bunch. They actually are pretty much Egyptians, as you've seen from the models, and they were told that will be resurrected to the eternal life. However, they came back with an unlife. It was the same. It was kind of a story with the Nagash and all this first necromancer and a death and many other things has happened there. I won't get into the lore. However, the final thought is that most of the guys there are actually asleep, and most of the time they are asleep. They can be called upon, most of the Tomb Kings, because Cetra is ruling, but at some point most of these guys were ruling this country, so they do feel like they can own it. And the entire place was actually several kingdoms also before Cetra united them, so there's that. Cetra is keeping them on a leash and generally calling them if they're needed, so but most of them are actually buried and not being used at the moment. There is also interesting, their politics is hard to pinpoint because they are like not allowing people living to get inside the borders, but on the other hand they do have a city full of people inside their borders, which they're absolutely cool with and they are working with, and they don't really possess anything. They don't really trade because they have no need for it. So we will see dark magic or necromantic magic as a resource, but I don't know, they do have interactions with other. They are not like bad. Would be would be really cool to see what Creative Assembly will do about them. Their lore is not, their history in the lore is very nice, but the current state of affairs is not so clear. So, however, obviously, if I would see their first campaign, I would see the struggle, Cetra struggling against some other kings that have decided to not be under his command, and he should take the entire kingdom for his own before he will go any further. And we will see skeleton building probably, the skeleton cave building probably, and the construct building most likely. Will we see all constructs, whether we see necrosphinx and war sphinx? I would like that, but I'm not sure. We also can see the building that is giving us carrion and tomb scorpions. So yeah, this is how I would see it. And that's pretty much it. I hope you like it. It is video number 200, so I was trying to make it as good as possible. I did forget some stuff. Sorry about that. Can't find the notes on the name of the queen, so my bad, my bad. But I still hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed it, and leave a like if you will, and leave a comment if you please so. And yeah, see you later. Have fun.